Texas legislative session begins on Tuesday after a year of protests over police brutality and calls for criminal justice reform. Those in law enforcement are taking steps to try to make sure that their voices are part of the discussion about what comes next. KXAN Politics reporter John Engel breaks down the campaign by one of the state's largest police groups.
They placed enter at your own risk billboards outside Austin in September. Now a new website and campaign by the Texas Municipal Police Association, TexasPoliceFacts.com, aims to shape the narrative around criminal justice reform this session.
We don't deny that there's bad policing that takes place, but that's very often the result of lack of resources, lack of supervision, just lack of leadership.
The death of George Floyd in May and how police responded to protests were catalysts for the debate on the future and role of police. El Paso Democrat Joe Moody is a leading voice on criminal justice reform in the Texas House. His effort to close the dead suspects loophole failed to pass last session, keeping the in-custody death of Javier Ambler in Austin quiet for months by not allowing the release of information about a suspect that didn't go through the courts. His measure was fought by police unions.
Members of law enforcement need to be at the table as you're working on those solutions. If they're going to, the problem we ran into last session is you had a dishonest broker at the table.
Moody says there's a bipartisan opportunity to create statewide standards for use of force, but that all sides have to be open to change. Justin Berry is a local police officer and former Texas House candidate who wants the focus to be on better training for officers and programs that help keep criminals from reoffending.
If you can actually bring everyone to the table and talk about their differences and what's going on, I think that's where we can really find realistic solutions.
John Engel, KXAN News.
Governor Abbott has suggested several proposals this upcoming legislative session. They include state takeover of the Austin Police Department or downtown jurisdiction, freezing property tax revenues in communities that defund police, and allowing annexed communities to remove themselves from cities that have defunded police.